Lineup for tonight's game against the Tampa Bay Rays. DJ LeMahieu leading off at second base. Giancarlo Stanton picked up the big walk-off on Mother's Day on Sunday. He is at DH. Aaron Judge out there in right field looking to get going. Gio Urshela back in the lineup from his knee injury. He's at third base. And Luke Voit, American League and Major League home run champion in 2020, back in there at first base. Gleyber Torres at shortstop. Picked up his first home run on Sunday. Gary Sanchez in there at catcher. Clint Frazier looking to get going. He's out there in left. And Brett Gardner out there in center field. Aaron Hicks was scratched from the lineup with soreness in his shin from where he fouled a ball off the other day. I thought that might happen. Was hoping the Yankees would call up Florial. No such luck. And on the mound, Jordan Montgomery. And as the president of Gumby Nation, I want to wish him a very good start. Jordan Montgomery has been pretty good this year. Not great, not terrible. You know, middle of the rotation type of pitcher. That's all we kind of expected. He's been going deeper into games this year than he went last year, pitching to soft contact. I'm a big fan of Gumby. He needs a big start tonight. Hey, hi. How's it going, everybody? The Yankees almost had their full Death Star lineup tonight, but Aaron Hicks scratched at the last minute. Also, the Yankees will be missing several members of their coaching staff due to a COVID-19 outbreak. I offered my services, but still waiting to hear back. Keep those fingers crossed. I'll be out there coaching third, sending everybody home. Actually, that's what Phil Nevin does, and it hasn't worked out so good so far. But hey, look, the Yankees are taking on the Rays. I'm going to do a 5-inning watch party. After that, I got to shut it down and get ready for the postgame. You're going to see a quick word from my sponsor, Manscaped, and then we'll get right into the action. People say to me all the time, Derek, we love your show. How can we support it? How can we help you grow? And the answer is pretty simple.
Groom your balls!
Support for NYY Recaps is brought to you by Manscaped, who are the world champions of below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, 4.0. This thing has a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. This upgraded trimmer includes a multifunction on-off switch.
A multifunction on-off switch!
That can engage a travel lock so it won't get turned on in your suitcase.
My suitcase was vibrating.
9 times out of 10, it's an electric razor.
Look, if you're using the same razor for your face that you're using on your bollocks, you're doing it wrong. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code NYYRecaps at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code NYYRecaps. Hey, everybody. How's it going? In case you missed it for the Rays tonight, their lineup is as follows. Arozarena in left field, Margot in right field, Meadows at DH, Yandy Diaz over there at first base, Brosseau over there at second base, Padillo I guess is how you pronounce that. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Where's my camera? I moved it. There we go. Zunino behind the dish. Zunino always kills the Yankees. Zunino's one of those guys that I just hate to see him in the lineup because he just kills the Yankees. The Yankees can't pitch to him. He doesn't hit anybody else except the Yankees. Adame's in there at shortstop, and then Phillips out there in center field. Jordan Montgomery on the mound for the Yankees versus Luis Patino for the Rays. How's everybody doing? David, enough with the spam. We get it. You don't like Altuve. Enough. So, how's it going? Welcome to THG Wicked 50 Cal. He is going to be the mod for this evening. This is one of those nights where I need you guys to support the sponsor. I know a lot of you men out there, it's a veritable force that you're dealing with. So please visit manscaped.com and use the code NYYRecaps, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping. They have that new product, the Lawnmower. That's pretty expensive, so if you don't want to get that, just pick up something else. Pick up something for $10, $12, and you'll get free shipping and 20% off. And it will be good for me. And then I can grow this channel. I can add people. I can add graphic designers. I can add guests, I can add equipment, things like that. So who's ready for a watch party? I was thinking about playing the volume on my phone, kind of like Pinstripe Strong does. I talked to Joe's McFly last night. He was on my podcast this morning. Some of you saw it, I'm sure. Probably a lot of you. And I know he always plays the volume from the game, so I'm thinking about doing that right now. I got the headphones in. I'm iffy on it. I don't want it to diminish the quality, but maybe we'll try it out in a little while. Tonight in Tampa, weather will not be a factor. They, of course, have that roof on that horrible thing that they call a stadium. It's really a craptastic. It's like a conference center that they somehow put a baseball diamond in the middle. It just has no life. It's awful. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate when the Yankees play there. The Yankees have gone 7-2 in their last 9 games on the homestand. It was their longest homestand of the year, and they made hay. They are now just 3 games behind the Boston Red Sox for the division lead. Peter Ramos Gonzalez says, we should trade for David Peralta from Arizona for left field. I don't know what his stats look like, but I did see him play one time, and he impressed me. Sprinting Water, another one of the mods. He's in the chat. He says, what's going on, everybody? How's it going over there?
Hello.
I reorganized my sounds so that I can have quicker access to stuff. So you may hear some more sounds tonight. Once again, if you missed the lineup, LeMahieu leading off, Stanton, Judge, Urshela, Luke Voit back in there, Gleyber Torres, Gary Sanchez, Clint Frazier, and Brett Gardner. In 5 rehab games, Luke Voit hit .389 with 3 home runs. He's an absolute beast. And I'm hoping that he can, if he comes in and has a big night, it might really inject some life into this team. So if you guys look to the bottom right of the corner of the little video box, you'll see the top of my phone. That's where I'm watching the game. Okay, I'm watching on MLB TV, and I'm going to be about 30 to 60 seconds behind you guys. So please try and sync your feed with my play-by-play, so that way I'm not seeing spoilers. Okay, and it's on the mods. If you guys see some spoilers, just try and remind them of that rule. And here we go. First pitch. Up and in on LeMahieu, 93 miles an hour. Patino is 1-0 in 3 games, 1 start. He's got a 1.17 ERA, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. The 1-0 pitch, outside. 94 miles an hour. Looks like he's a low to mid-90s guy. He's got a bright blue glove. It's like a sky blue. It'll be a 2-0. Fastball strike on the outside corner. 2-1. Lori C says Todd Frazier got DFA'd today. That's interesting news. I like him. They should bring him in as a coach if he decides to retire. Yanks need some coaches right now. Ground ball to first. DJ LeMahieu is retired on 4 pitches, 1 away. Yeah, the Yankees coaching staff has been hit by a little bit of the COVID bug. Last I heard it was 5 people, but then the most recent update, I only heard Phil Nevin's name said. So maybe there's some other folks who have gone, have been diagnosed or been exposed, but are not putting their names out there. Giancarlo Stanton steps in, had the walk-off on Sunday, takes a fastball outside at 94. Sam Guzman says, I predict a brawl. That would be cool. Swung on and missed from Stanton. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Rays apparently designated someone for assignment today. I forget the guy's name. He was a first baseman from Japan. It'll be a 2-1 to Giancarlo Stanton. Weak swing on an inside slider. Looked like he was fooled a little bit. Almost a defensive hack. I'm going to try and do a little bit more play-by-play tonight, and I will, from time to time, interact with the chat. Lori C says, bad reporting by Rivera and Heyman as Stanton pops it up to left. Arozarena having trouble with the roof, but he camps under it, makes a catch. Vanjie Stokar says there should have been a brawl during the Astros series. Yeah, that would have been fun. Yoshi Tsugo, that's what it is. Yeah, apparently he was a great hitter over there in Japan, but not everybody who comes over from Japan, especially as an offensive player, has a lot of success. I remember Kaz Matsui came over to the Mets, and he just was never the player that he was. And Judge rips it to center field and deep and gone! A home run for Aaron Judge. The Yankees take a 1-0 lead here in the first inning. Aaron Judge getting off the schneid. That is a solo home run, his 8th home run of the year. Big smile, all of his teeth lined up perfectly. And Aaron Judge goes deep.
Objection!
That calls for some music. What do you guys think? Get some music here? That's not the one I wanted to click. There we go. So Judge looks like he hit a up and in fastball. He really pulled his hands in, got the barrel of the bat to it, and he hit it just to the right of center field in case you're not watching the feed. And just got out of the park. It'll be a 2-0 pitch to Urshela. He fouls it away, taking a big hack on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Gio Urshela comes in at 287, 4 home runs, 16 RBIs, 798 OPS. Panic Mob Entertainment, I'm guessing that's entertainment, says Judge will hit 2 home runs tonight. Yeah, Sprinting Water makes a good point. Luke Voigt isn't the only one back. Gio Urshela back in the lineup. He'd been struggling with a left knee injury. His last game was against the Astros, so he didn't play at all in that Washington National Series. It'll be a 3-1 to Urshela. He had hurt himself as he swings and misses. 3-2, full count. He had hurt himself diving towards third base to try and take away a double. He actually made the play and threw to first, but did not get the runner and ended up with some kind of a knee contusion. It'll be a 3-2 to Gio. Fouled away, 95, up and in. Patino with 16 pitches so far. Al Leiter likes to say that you'd like to throw about 15 pitches per inning because that'll get you to about 105 pitches if you go 7 innings. So I always kind of keep track at how guys do in the first inning. If they throw under 15 or over 15, it kind of lets you know whether they need to make up ground or whether they've got, they're playing with house's money, so to speak. Panic Mob says he called it earlier. I believe ya. I believe ya. Fouled away. 3-2. Still. By the way, the highlights you're seeing in the upper right-hand corner are some of the Yankee highlights this season to date. It doesn't go all the way back. It goes back to maybe the 5th or 6th game of the season, but it goes pretty far back. And this will be just basically a 15-minute reel that plays on loop. And then every time I do one of these watch parties, it'll have, 15 minutes of highlights from recent games. I could do the whole season, but then by the end of the season, as Gio drills a base hit through the right side, he barreled it up. It was just an outside pitch, and he dropped the bat head on it. Actually didn't hit it that hard, but I'm not an announcer. No, but so I have this thing that I call the recent reel, where I put highlights that I cut from every single game, and it runs in backwards chronological order. And then every player, I label their highlights from that individual highlight. So, if Aaron Judge hits another couple home runs tonight, he'll have 3 highlights added to his Aaron Judge reel. And so that way, every game when I do the highlights, I automatically add the highlights from the relevant players as Luke Voigt steps in, takes a cutter on the inside corner for a strike. So, I could have the entire season, but it just takes a long time to publish. It ties up my computer all day. So I stick with about 15 minutes. It takes about a half hour to publish. It'll be an 0-1 to Luke Voigt. Let's get a hashtag Luke in the chat. takes a fastball away. Oh, we got our first down vote of the night. Must be a Rays fan who stopped in. And feel free to not let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Yankees first baseman have the lowest batting average in the league at 150. Voit 3 home runs in his brief rehab appearance. Takes a big cut on the inside corner and just misses. Sprinting Water announced that big cut about 10 seconds before I saw it, so watch that here. 3 infielders on the left side of the infield for Luke Voit, playing him on the shift. It'll be a 1-2. Voit takes a fastball outside at 96. Again, 4 best results. Just try and sync up your game to my broadcast. In fact, I'm going to try this out here. Let me know if you guys can hear the sound from the game. Faintly, that would be good. It'll be a 2-2 to Luke Voit. In the dirt. By the way, who's drinking tonight? I'm having a little bit of Bushmills Irish whiskey. My buddy Rob left this over at my house, and so I drank it all. I'm going back to see him on a couple weeks. He's buying my PlayStation 4, so I have to buy him another bottle. Swing and a miss from Luke. He goes down on strikes. All right, so I'm going to turn it down for the commercials just because I don't want to pick up any music that could give me a copyright violation. But Yankees take a 1-0 lead in the first. I'm going to pause this for a minute, or I'm going to put up the commercial thing so that I can go get a water. I forgot to get a water tonight, and I can't be just drinking whiskey all night without any water. So let's get a quick commercial break, and then I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Got my Quality H2O. Sprinting Water says he has a good feeling about Monty tonight. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Jordan Montgomery this season. He's been a little bit up and down, but his control's been good. His soft contact has been good. I would love to see a shutdown inning where he doesn't have any trouble, get the Rays kind of on their heels early. When you're playing baseball, it's important to win every inning, right? So if you score a run, you want to shut down the opposing team the next inning. Montgomery this season 1-1 with a 4.41 ERA. He's pitched 32 2/3 innings, just 8 walks, so 1 every 4 innings or so. 28 strikeouts, 5 home runs allowed, probably a bit too much. And he kicks and fires to a Rosarena, fouled away. Oops. I shut down my feed real quick. All right. Let me fix this real quick. I hit the wrong button there because I'm terrible with technology. Okay. There we go. I do like the behind the mound camera that they have in Tampa Bay, because you get to see more movement, as somebody mentioned in the comments. You can really see the way the ball tails on the fastball. It'll be a 1-2 to Arozarena. Takes it down in the dirt. 2-2. Gleyber Torres had a pretty good homestand, starting to come around a little bit. Both he and Aaron Hicks are hitting over 300 over the past 10 games. Saw that post from Yankees Avenue. Somebody actually messaged me on Instagram to ask me to do a video on it. And honestly, it wouldn't be worth doing a video. Like, when you do as many videos as I do, you start to realize what videos do well and which ones don't. And the recaps after the game do really well. Yankees Game Day does pretty well. But just random one-off videos don't always do that great unless it's a really pressing topic like a trade. This one's popped to third. Gio makes the catch, and the Yankees get Arozarena. JB, with the drop in knowledge on us, says the camera is situated on the backs of the Stingrays in the tank in right center field. Underwater cameras. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Excellent.
Yankees lead 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Solo home run from Judge in the top of the first. Fastball away outside of the zone to Margot, gets the call. 0-1. Wampag Doodle says Montgomery was reliable in the playoffs, got us to Cole in game 5.
Yes, I agree.
I've always been a Jordan Montgomery guy. Ever since he was in the minor leagues. I saw him in spring training, and I like his over-the-top motion. So, is the sound interfering with my voice? If not, I'll just leave it up. Grounder to short. Gleyber, nice play. Great stretch over there at first by Luke Voigt. Welcome back, Luke Voigt, with the great defensive play. Aaron Hicks apparently out with a right shin bruise. You don't know if he hurt it on that foul ball or playing golf. I give Aaron Hicks a tough time. He's actually been playing pretty well lately. Here's Austin Meadows. Popped up. Out of play. 0-1. Joe Saban with a great point. Talk about testing out the knee right away. It's kind of like how when Andujar got put at first base, the first play was at first base. They say the ball finds you. 0-1 is fouled away. And right about now, I start looking at the pitch count. Jordan Montgomery at 11 pitches. So if he can get an out on the next pitch or two, he's ahead of that 7-inning, 105-pitch pace. So he'd be playing with house's money. That's the way I watch the baseball game. Everything feeds into every other thing. Domino effects. Wampag Doodle says, I bet Voigt will DH in one of these games where Stanton sits out. That's probably going to happen. I know they don't like playing Stanton on this turf because of his leg history. Sound okay? I can't hear what I'm saying and how it's coming out on your end, so hopefully it's coming out well as Jordan Montgomery deals a fastball on the outside corner for strike 3. I believe that was his 14th pitch of the inning. So really good start for Jordan Montgomery. We're going to get Gleyber Torres, Gary Sanchez, and Clint Frazier coming up next inning. So I want to remind you guys a couple of things. One, you got to go get The Freeze. That's my podcast. It's on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and Audible. I don't know about Spotify yet. I haven't checked in a couple of days. But I've been uploading more and more to that. I uploaded a bunch of stuff right in the beginning to get started. But over the past couple of days, it's just been basically one a day. Try to do at least one a day. and just see how much room I fill up in this first month. And then after that, I can kind of budget my um, storage as I accidentally shut off my feed once again. I got these big sausage fingers. Every time I touch the screen, I shut it down. They were doing the Candyman song, and I tried to mute it because I don't want to get the copyright. Who can make a sunrise? Sprinkle it with dew. All right, so we got people saying the audio's good. All right, sounds good. So we'll go with that. Gregory Van Goku says, just so ridiculous the potential in our 6, 7, 8 hitters when you hear Torres, Sanchez, and Frazier. Unfortunately, though, Sanchez and Frazier continue to struggle this year. They're both having really bad years. I get tired of fighting with people about Gary Sanchez. I just don't think he's a good player. I just don't think he's a good player, defensively, offensively. And I'm not going to say he's lazy because I don't think he's lazy. I think he works hard. I think he's a little bit lazy behind the plate. He doesn't hide his pitching hand, or his throwing hand, rather, from foul tips. And so we get that all the time. Wambag Doodle says, any word on the Martian? He is in extended spring training right now, but as soon as he starts playing in games, I will be doing probably weekly updates on his stats and the reports on him. I just can't wait to see him. I'm going to go see him in person as soon as I can. All right, Gleyber Torres stepping in. We go to the second. Gleyber takes a cut. Fastball inside. That was a long home run from Gleyber Torres up into the left field bleachers. You never used to see balls into the left field bleachers at the old Yankee Stadium, as Gleyber bloops one to center field, but that's going to be caught out there. I thought that might dunk in there for a hit. 1-0 Yankees here, top of the second. Gary Sanchez steps in, hitting a robust late afternoon batting average. Actually, not really. It's more of like an interstate. There is no 174 o'clock. That was a pretty stupid thing to say. "27 pitches so far for Patino." When I think of Patino, I think of that basketball coach, Rick Pitino. Gary fouls it away. Late on the 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Adam Kyman says Torres line out. I don't know if you can call that a line out. That was kind of like a bloop. Sanchez opens up his hips way too slow, or way too quick, and fouls it away. 0-2. It'll be an 0-2 to Sanchez, and he swings at a pitch that was never a strike. It lands. You could see where it landed in the left-hand batter's box on the line. It actually created like a smear in the chalk. And that's what I mean about Sanchez. He's just not a good baseball IQ. You don't swing at that pitch. What are you doing? I haven't played competitive baseball in a couple years. But as far as I'm concerned, the game hasn't changed that much, right? You lay off of sliders in the dirt, right? Clint Frazier in there. I'm hearing that there's a little bit of buffering going on. Let me reduce the stream size. No, we're good. It's 3-0 to Frazier. Takes a fastball right down the middle. Again, I get some guys don't like to swing 3-0, but fastballs right down the middle on 3-0 are typically. Are you going to get a better pitch than that? Are you going to get a better pitch than 3-0? Right down the middle? And I'm tired of jerking Frazier off every single day. He's just. Yankees go down in order. Clint Frazier continues to struggle. I've had enough of Clint Frazier. Time for a trip to AAA for Mr. Clint Frazier. You know what? I'm going to stick around for the commercials this time instead of going to break. Let's do a little bit of question and answer session. What movies have you guys been watching and what shows? I need some shows and movies. I've been watching something on HBO Max called I'll Be Gone in the Dark. It's about the Golden State Killer and about Patton Oswalt, the comedian's wife, who was a true crime writer, who was searching for him and writing a book on him. And then she died of, I guess, like a combination of medicine or whatever, died in her sleep. That's a common thing these days. And she didn't get to finish her book. But they finished it for her, and then they made like a documentary because apparently they caught the guy. It's pretty good. Aaron Gomez says, not everyone has the green light 3-0. That's a good point. That's a fair point. They're showing highlights of Ken Griffey Jr.'s catch at Yankee Stadium, robbing Jesse Barfield of a home run. I was a big fan of Jesse Barfield back in 1990, 1991. Luigi Bryden says, watch True Detective if you haven't already, Derek. So I saw the first I saw seasons 1 and 3. I skipped season 2. And I don't think there's a season 4 yet. But season 1 was amazing with Matthew McConaughey and I forget the other guy's name. That was really good. HBO honestly makes really good stuff. I started watching the Mortal Kombat movie. THD Wicked 50 Cal says, why has Clint struggled so much? I don't know. I mean, I looked at his swings earlier on this year because I was going to do a video on it, and his swing doesn't look that much different than last year. Early on, he was maybe coiled up a little bit more, and that could affect his swing. And we're back, bottom of the second. First pitch from Montgomery's a strike. So, I mean, I honestly don't know. I'm baffled. I think he's just not making good contact. He might be swinging too hard. He might be pressing, you know? Yandy Diaz has gone 112 at-bats without a home run this season. And he pops it up in the infield. A lot of guys struggling with the home run ball this year with the new baseball, as DJ LeMahieu struggles with the dome a little bit but makes the catch. Sprinting Water says he loves HBO Max. Yeah, HBO Max does great stuff. They've got a lot of really good documentaries on there. I'm a big documentary guy. Ulysses Lyons says Peaky Blinders. I had a number of people recommend Peaky Blinders. I have not seen it. Martin Kolunga says, besides Scherzer, who else do you think the Yankees could target at the trade deadline? It's a little bit too early to say. I've seen some people say Chris Bryant. I don't think that's going to happen. The Yankees don't want to go out and get another right-handed power bat. If I was the Yankees, I would try and get a left-handed left fielder, possibly. It'll be a 1-0 from Montgomery. Takes a fastball out of the zone, but called the strike. Got 144 people in the chat. Got 2 downvotes from Salty Rays fans. 57 likes. Get those likes up, people. Sprinting Water says, I want to watch Sabathia's documentary. How was it? I actually posted a review of that. I think it's called Under the Grapefruit Tree. There's a review of it on my channel. I thought it was pretty decent. It wasn't amazing. I keep hoping that they'll do a Last Dance style documentary about the 90s Yankees dynasty. That would be amazing. That would be legendary. Swung on and missed, and Jordan Montgomery gets a strikeout. 2 down in the inning. Just 19 pitches for Jordan Montgomery through 2 innings. So if he can get a 1-pitch out here, You'll be at 10 pitches through 2 innings, or 10 pitches an inning through 2 innings. That'd be dope. PXNA says, hope I didn't jinx it. The Jinx is another HBO series that's really interesting about this guy. There's a movie that I watched that turned me on to that. It's called All Good Things, and it's got Ryan Gosling. It's about this rich guy who marries this woman, and eventually he kills her, but they didn't catch him until like way, way later. He was actually on camera during the documentary, and he admitted to killing them. Like, he was wearing his microphone, and he goes to the bathroom, and he starts talking to himself. What am I supposed to tell him? Yeah, I killed them all. And then the cops used that against him, and I think he got convicted. Padillo in there, 1-1 count. Takes a fastball just low. A lot of people saying Cobra Kai. I have not heard of Cobra Kai. Two-one pitch. Good straight changeup from Jordan Montgomery, 84 miles an hour. Swung on and missed. Swung on and missed. Great changeup from Jordan Montgomery. Gets another strikeout. Gets out of the inning. Great job from Jordan Montgomery. 2 strikeouts in the inning.
Double kill.
10-pitch inning for Jordan Montgomery. So by my count, he's at 24 pitches. So he's off to a good start. Yanks could use a really good outing from Jordan Montgomery. I'm talking 7 shutout innings. That would be fantastic. G-Squad 0706 says Banshee is a good show to watch. Yeah, I'm actually 3 episodes into that. My brother recommended that, and I like it a lot. A lot of boobies in that show. Banks says Yellowstone. What channel is Yellowstone on? I've heard good things about that. It's got Kevin Costner. He's one of my favorites. By the way, Patrick Hennessy will be joining the postgame show tonight. NYY Recap. He will be joining, and it'll go a little bit differently than usual because I'm not going to go through my typical recap. I figure on days where I do the watch party, I can't take the same kind of notes that I would typically take when I'm just watching by myself. So I figured I would just have him on and we could chat about the game for 20 minutes before he goes on to his show. So look forward to that tonight about maybe 5 minutes after the game ends. THG says Narcos and Narcos Mexico were always great shows. I have trouble with subtitled shows. I don't know why. Anthony says, Derek, is that supposed to be a lucky green shirt for tonight? No, it just says bananas. I just like it. It's a bananas shirt. Where's everybody coming in from tonight? Where are you located? I am in Wake Forest, North Carolina. And we are back in the dome. It is such an ugly green field that they have. It's just like this hideous color. It doesn't look like real grass. It looks like carpet. Their lighting is terrible. Their roof is the same color as baseballs. The sound is just meh. I just don't like their stadium. I can't wait to watch it get demolished. Marcelo Marino says, can't wait for you to blow up and only be able to read donos. I think I'll always try and interact with the fans. I don't know how much this is going to blow up, right? I mean, there's already a blown up Yankees channel. Although I did go to Reddit today. I go to Reddit occasionally to read my baseball news. And somebody asked, like, what are some great Yankees podcasts? And of course, the first few responses were Talking Yanks. Talking Yanks is the Yankees podcast right now, number 1. But somebody said, I like this guy. He's an up-and-comer. NYY Recaps. And they went on to discuss my work a little bit. And I felt good about that. I was like, okay, so people are getting enjoyment. And there wasn't a whole bunch of comments that were like, you know, He's awful. He sucks. So that made me feel good. Biggest inspirations in podcasting. Probably Kevin Smith was one of my biggest inspirations. He was the guy who first got me started in thinking about podcasts. Then I heard Joe Rogan's podcast and I listened to him for a few years. I got into Bill Burr. That's where the Johnny Lasagna comes from. That's the Bill Burr outtake voice. He always goes, "Ladies." So, and every once in a while I break into Bill Burr monikers. Like he'll say something over there, and I say this. I do the same thing. It's because I listen to him so much that it kind of sticks. DJ up at the plate with a 2-1 count. THG in Long Island. Earned Karmas is coming in from the couch. Roy Vera from San Antonio. PXNA coming in from the Bronx, New York. Lorenzo says Vancouver, British Columbia. Banks says Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where I went to college, UNC Wilmington. Ulysses says Miami, Florida, as DJ singles through the right side. Typical DJ LeMahieu hit. John Kalemi, 2023, says Queens, New York. Lori C says Williamsport, Pennsylvania, home of the Little League World Series. Beaumont, Texas for Chibuzi Ezike. Hartford, Connecticut for Wampag Doodle. Let's see. Lorenzo Ignacio says, Reddit brought me here. Hey, I appreciate that, Ignacio. Lorenzo, however you... I got that backwards. I apologize. Sprinting Water coming in from Westchester, New York, 30 minutes away from the Bronx. Yeah, we used to play Westchester on the Little League All-Star team. They used to always kick the crap out of us. I didn't like playing them. John Carlos steps in. He's at 289. He's fallen below the 300 mark. 9 home runs, 24 RBIs. He's due to hit one out of the park. It's been a few days for him. Takes 95 below the zone. Frank Saratus says there are 8 million Yankee fans. You should have 8 million subs. I'd be happy with 25, 30,000. That would be good for me. Chippewa, New York. Jose Melo says Old Mill Basin, Brooklyn, New York. Lenox, Massachusetts from Mike Sorrentino. Wampag Doodle commenting on Talking Yanks and NYY. Look, I don't like to compare the two of us because my oeuvre is much different. Oeuvre, that's a Scrabble word, as Giancarlo walks. So here's the deal with my. I'll give you guys my honest feelings on Talking Yanks. I think they're fantastic guys. I think they're tremendous. They're entertaining. But I know a lot of my friends don't have an hour plus to listen to a podcast every single day, right? I know that I typically, before I even got into podcasting, I try and gravitate towards podcasts that I can watch in either 20-minute chunks over a long time. So Joe Rogan, he would do a 3-hour podcast, and he would have maybe one guest a month that I would be interested in. The rest would all be nutbags. But he might have like a physicist or somebody on that I'd be interested in, or a dietitian or something like that. And so I would listen in 20-minute chunks. And so I thought, when I do a podcast, I want to stick to try and keep it under 20 minutes. That's why most of my post-game recaps are about 18 to 25 minutes tops. So while I really like and respect what they do, it can be hard to sit through an hour plus. But for them, it's good because the more people listen, the longer they stay engaged, the more money they make. So they're raking in the cash, right? And they get all of these sponsors and stuff like that. And I'm happy for them. But that's just not the style. I don't think there's an hour and a half of information to be gained from a 3-hour game. To me, you get maybe, 5 or 10 minutes of useful notes, right? So I figured that the way that I would do my recaps is to go inning by inning typically. And if I just jot down everything that happens in the inning, most of the time, nothing happens. Most of the time, it's so-and-so goes quietly. But there will be innings where, there's a great play or a hit that gets stranded. But if I jot down everything, then it reminds me to mention it after the game. And I can just, since I watch the game so closely, I can just refer to, oh, there was such and such a play in the third inning. And that allows the recap to flow really, really well. Lorenzo Ignacio says Rogan sucks. Yeah, Rogan has really, like, I don't really listen to Rogan much anymore. I listened to his one with Dave Chappelle the other day. I thought that was a really good podcast. But for the most part, Rogan is like, he's uninformed, but he acts like he's super informed. And I don't like that. He has a lot of stupid takes. And he gives a platform to a lot of people that I don't think warrant a platform. Hey, Lori C with the dono hype. Appreciate that. We're going to go with the air horn. I got to rename this because I've got it named, like I have a sound effects board as DJ Airhorn, but I always look for dono hype. And so I always go to the wrong spot. So I just got to rename that. Pass ball to Judge. The runners advance. So we got runners on second and third with nobody out. Judge homered in the first inning. Judge fouls it off. Marcelo's talking about a New York Giants YouTuber that has similar videos. I have to check that out. Isaac's channel is taking off too, over 6K. Who's Isaac? I don't know who Isaac is. Is that the I Talk Sports guy? Yeah, THG is. I'm on the same page. I don't know who Isaac is. Judge rips it to left field, but it's going to hang up there and get caught. Stanton feigns tagging, but retreats, so it's a fly out for Judge. One thing I want to focus on is creating more evergreen videos, so videos that have a long life. You know what I mean? That I created one that has like 20 minutes of Yankees brawl, 500,000 views or something like that. So if I could do more of those type of videos, it'll help me grow because more people will see them. They'll last longer. People subscribe, things like that. Majestical Chicken says Huntersville, North Carolina. Heads up for North Carolina. Ulysses Leon has a great post. It says Rogan is basically a coin toss between an interesting person and like a weird conspiracy dude. That you could not have said it better. You could not have said it better. You know who else is blown up is Baseball Historian. His videos are awesome. Big fan of I had him on the podcast a few weeks back. I just have to constantly remind myself when I see other people blowing up that I need to just keep doing what I'm doing and not try and do what other people are doing that is helping them blow up. I just got to keep doing. Lorenzo Ignacio says Foolish Baseball. Foolish Baseball is the GOAT, in my opinion. When it comes to just baseball content, Foolish Baseball is the best. Marcelo Marino says, are you a fan of any football or basketball team? So so football, I began as a Raiders fan because my dad was a Raiders fan. And then I switched to the Dolphins because I like Dan Marino. But the Dolphins haven't won in forever. So over the last couple of years, I find myself watching more Chiefs and Giants games. I like to watch Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs. You know, I hate to sound like a bandwagon fan, but I'm becoming a fan of the guy. I also like the Seahawks. My brother's a big Seahawks fan. I do like the Dolphins still. I try and watch them occasionally, but I might watch like 5 football games a year in a good year. I'm basically a baseball and movies guy. As you can see behind me, I'm a big time movie collector. I love movies. So when I'm not watching baseball, I'm pretty much watching movies or shows. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of documentaries. Borg, you got to get people in your real life calling you Borg. Just be like, hey, look, my friends call me Borg. We've got to make that stick. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos on just topics that interest me. I've always been a very, I don't want to say spiritual person, but I've always been interested in the dualism type of thing where like people have near-death experiences or things like that, out-of-body experiences. And so I watch a lot of those type of videos just to listen and learn about that because I'm trying to learn more about this whole journey that we're on. What is life in general? Like, why are we here? Are we some random thing from, all of these compound elements in the universe just coming together and somehow life formed? Or are we here for a reason? And it would make sense that if we're here for a reason, that we don't know the reason, right? Like if we're here to learn, it would make sense that we live our lives with these lessons that are coming at us, and our job is to kind of learn and take life and grow as human beings. But whatever's next, I don't know. I tend to think that human souls are kind of like drops of water. So like water can exist in the ocean, and then it gets picked up and it rains on a dinosaur, and then it evaporates, and then over eons and eons and eons, the same piece of water the same molecule of water can exist in many states, in many places, in many forms. And I kind of think that's kind of what like human consciousness is like, right? So that's just kind of where I'm at on that as we go off the deep end here. One guy that I'm really interested in, as I'm getting away from the game here. 3-2 to Zunino here. 29 pitches for Jordan Montgomery. 2-0. Oh, I got to update the score here. Sorry about that. I got lost in my philosophical talk. 2-0 Yankees here. One guy that I really like is Don Hoffman. Lorenzo Ignacio says, think we get Scherzer or Story. I think Scherzer would be a better get. I don't think the Yankees are going to need a shortstop. I like what Gleyber Torres has given them lately, and I think he's going to round into form as this one is drilled towards left center field and deep, and that one's going to go. Zunino goes deep. I told you. Zunino kills the Yankees. I told you. If you were on from the beginning of the stream, 2-1. That was just kind of a fat pitch. Frank Sita says, it's just me or is Derek laggy a bit? It comes and goes. I mean, I'm streaming at 1080p. So it is what it is. Sometimes it slows down. Monty's been looking pretty good, Daniel Hunt. But, there's going to be bad pitches here and then. Willie Adames steps in, swings and misses at a curveball. Squisher King says, Derek, I can listen to you talk about the meaning of life for hours. So, yeah, back to Don Hoffman. So, he's pretty much got the most interesting theory that I've seen so far. As this one is drilled to right field, and it's going to slice foul. His theory attempts to prove that there is kind of a dualism between the mind and the body. So for centuries, science has been studying the brain, and we've learned a lot about the brain, but we still can't account for one conscious thought. The taste of chocolate, the taste of a strawberry, the smell of a rose, a headache. We don't know where that comes from. We can't figure it out. Now there's correlates, but we can't map, as Montgomery strikes out Adames, we can't map any conscious thought from start to finish. And then there's also the double slit experiment. Now, if you don't know about the double slit experiment, you shoot light through two slits, and just based on the reading, it's either a particle or a wave. If you don't observe it, it stays a particle. If you do observe it, it collapses the wave function. That's what it's called. And it creates a wave pattern. And what that is determined, and we can even measure that with light coming from the other side of the universe, from quasars and pulsars from billions of years ago. They've put them through this pattern and discovered that human consciousness seems to be, or measurement seems to be, the determining factor in whether light's a particle or a wave or nothing else happens. So we've been studying for centuries, how does the brain create consciousness? And what Don Hoffman has said is, wait a second. What if consciousness instead creates everything else. And so his theory that he's trying to prove, and he actually proved a theorem about conscious agents, like he defined consciousness mathematically. He's trying to prove that the reality that we live in is actually a connection between all of these different conscious agents that are interacting, and that it creates a universe, basically. And that space and time is basically a headset. It's a user interface to help us stay alive and procreate. For what reason? I don't know. But if you have a chance to watch his TED Talk, it's called Do We See Reality as It Is? As Phillips strikes out, another strikeout for Jordan Montgomery, 2 strikeouts in a row for Jordan Montgomery.
Double kill.
Jose Melo says, do interviews with famous conspiracy theory authors like Brad Meltzer. I love Brad Meltzer. Swainer says, how is Voit looking? Well, we've only seen one at bat. He struck out. He did make a really nice play in the field. He stretched out. Randy Arozarena takes a strike from Montgomery, who is at 40 pitches through 2 2/3. Pretty good. He's averaging less than 15 per inning. Fastball up and in for a ball. Ulysses Leon says energy predates time. So yeah, so what Don Hoffman suggests is that and Ulysses Leon also says that the universe predates conscious life. We don't know that. We don't know that. The universe might predate conscious life on Earth. But his thought is that the universe, space, and time is not fundamental. Because once you get down, like if you measure things on the Planck scale, the smallest scale we can get to, as Montgomery throws and just misses a curveball on the inside part of the plate, 3-1 to Arozarena. If you get down to the Planck scale and try and study things at that small scale, space and time ceases to exist. It ceases to make sense. Swainer says, how is Patino looking? He's looking good. He's a little bit wild, but he's got good stuff. Frank says, make a second channel with Pat about conspiracies. It's hard enough to do one channel. I've actually got 3 channels now. I've got one called, as it's fouled away, I've got one called Streamski, where I actually interviewed Don Hoffman, the guy whose theory I'm talking about right now. Randolph Familia says, do you think Monty could be a good trade bargain, or is he too valuable? I want to keep Jordan Montgomery, mostly because I am the president of the Jordan Montgomery fan club. I think he would be a good chip because he's a good pitcher, as he strikes out Arozarena. And we are through 3. Yankees lead this one 2-1 as Montgomery strikes out the side. Going to take a quick break. I will be right back. right, we're back. We're back. THG says he's the president of the Higgy fan club. Higgy, Higgy, Higgy. All right, here's the trivia question from Yes. No Ray has ever led the AL in home runs outright. In 2009, what Ray and Yankee tied for the home run lead in the league? That's got to be Carlos Pena. And I think he tied with Mark Teixeira with 39. That would be my guess at the trivia question. Luke Voigt gets hit by a pitch and takes first base. Let's take a look at the replay, see where it got him. Ooh, that one got the hand. Ooh, that looks like it hurt. Got the meat of that hand, like right here on that chunky part of your hand. Voigt didn't even say ow. He just kind of went, oh, come on. He wanted to hit. Irvin Ostra says, you guys like Jason Dominguez. So Jason Dominguez is partially responsible for how big this channel is because I got a lot of Jason Dominguez videos. Irvin Ostra says Longoria Teixeira. I think it might be Pena. I don't think Longoria ever had 39. I guess we'll find out next inning. Irvin Ostris says, has Jason played yet? He's in extended spring training right now. Should see him in minor league games here in the next probably several weeks. That would be my hope. So I'm actually using a different camera tonight. I'm using my Logitech camera. Let me actually just kind of change the size here. Glaber takes a fastball in the outside corner for a strike. Daniel Hunt says Greg Bird has done a nice job in the minor leagues so far. Somebody post Greg Bird's stats in the minor leagues so far. I'm a big fan of Greg Bird. I'm rooting hard for Greg Bird. Patino has 61 pitches. I thought his stuff looks good, but he's been a little bit wild. Two runs so far. Glaber takes a fastball away, 3-2. Did you guys catch the interview with Joe's McFly today on the Yankees game day? That guy is such a trip. I had to edit out a few portions because we were just laughing so hard that it was like dead air. Derek, is your second favorite prospect Austin Wells? I think at this point he is. I just like the way he swings the bat. But don't sleep on Luis Medina. Medina's off to a really good start for Hudson Valley. I think he's got 9 shutout innings with maybe 15 strikeouts, something like that. Randolph Familia says, is Voigt coming back this series? He's playing right now. He's in the game. He just got hit by a pitch. Here's Gary Sanchez. Looks a little bit more crouched down than last time as he swings and misses through a slider. Thoughts on what Medina will be when he comes up? Starting pitcher or relief pitcher? Really depends on what the Yankees need. I mean, I could see him being in either role. As a guy who has had command issues, I'm hesitant to put him in the bullpen because in the bullpen, as Sanchez grounds it to third, and that's going to be a double play. They send down Sanchez. We're going to go to the bottom of the fourth and get the answer to our trivia question. But if you're calling up somebody for the bullpen, I would prefer that they're a guy who throws strikes because in the bullpen, you can't afford walks. You can't have a leadoff walk in the 7th inning or 8th inning, something like that. Luis Omar says, can we please trade Gary now? Hey, look.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I don't think they could get much for him, honestly, because he's not a good catcher anymore. And he can't hit. I mean, how often do we have to watch this guy? He hits home runs now and again. I get it. He's got a little bit of power. He should have power. He's 215, 220 pounds. He's a big fatso. He should have power. He's got mass. But Noel says, why aren't you showing the game? I can't show the game. The game is broadcast on TV. It's copyrighted. That's not how it works. I don't know where you're coming in from, but showing the game is illegal. So I'm not going to risk my channel. Randolph Familia says Higashioka is our guy. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes, I agree.
Running out of whiskey over here. 2-1 Yankees. I'm telling you what, I like the way Montgomery's throwing the ball tonight. He's been around the zone. Aaron Gomez says, what do you see Jason Dominguez ceiling as? Best player in the league, or is that aiming too high? So you don't want to anoint the guy the best player in the league before he's ever played a game, but I'm going to speak right to the camera because it's important that you guys hear this. As the fan base, it's important that you guys understand the words that these scouts are saying. It's not me who's comparing him to Mickey Mantle and Bo Jackson and Mike Trout. It's the scouts. If you watch the Meet Jason Dominguez video from the Yankees, they don't call him the best prospect that the Yankees have had or the best prospect since Griffey or since A-Rod. These scouts say they're the best he's the best prospect they've ever seen. Ever. These are career baseball men and women. Their only job is to look at young players and evaluate them. And if somebody says that this guy is the best I've ever seen, and the Yankees spend damn near their entire international bonus pool on the guy, you can be sure he's legit. Now, is he going to be ready right away? I don't think so. But we may see him sooner rather than later, as this one is lined to left for a base hit. Sanchez gets it into second, but it's going to be a double to lead off the bottom of the fourth. Also, I read a stat today about Clint Frazier that he's getting the worst jumps. It's on Baseball Savant. He gets the worst jumps in baseball. The worst of any outfielder. Abaddon Rothman says, what's your take on Glaber's defense? Michael K. said earlier in the broadcast that his defensive metrics were pretty up there in the league according to defensive metrics from the Department of Redundancy Department. Yes, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Glaber after that first weekend of the season. He looked pretty rough when we had Jay Bruce over there at first base because every time it was in the dirt, and that's pretty common if you got to rush a throw for it to end up in the dirt because you're aiming at an area, you're underhanding it sometimes, so you got spin on the ball. And if your first baseman can't catch it, you're going to have some errors. So I really feel like Jay Bruce was killing Gleyber Torres early in the season. But since then, Gleyber has looked really good. He's been really sharp. He's making the routine plays. He's not making the diving stops, but he gets to the ball. He's got a strong arm. This one is chopped foul. Nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. Meadows at the plate. Yankees lead this one 2-1. Lori C says, just got the noti for the watch party. And a great changeup from Jordan Montgomery to pick up his 7th strikeout of the game already through 3 1/3. Jordan Montgomery having a lights out strikeout performance. He has allowed 1 run. Wambag Doodle says, I've heard Dominguez is younger Trout. How did Trout go to the bottom of the first round? The Yankees actually had Trout at the top of their draft board. So did the Angels. The Angels had the 24th and 25th pick. They took him with the 25th pick. Something like that. And the Yankees had the next pick. The Yankees would have taken Trout if the Angels didn't take him. Luis Medina stuff comparison to a starter. Honestly, he reminds me of Luis Severino. That's what his stuff reminds me of. Only his curveball is better. Honestly, Luis Severino's not even the right guy. I'm sorry. The guy that he reminds me of is like a 1980s Dwight Gooden. The really good Dwight Gooden from the 80s who had 20 strikeouts or close to 20 strikeouts or something like that. I think he was 24-4 one year. He's got lights out stuff. 102 mile an hour fastball and a nose to nuts curveball. PXNA says, why I hate all the Rays faces. I love that. That should be a meme. David Hernandez says, Sterling and Waldman, the worst announcers ever. Well, good thing you joined the broadcast here. I actually think Sterling used to be really good, but I've listened to him a few times this year, and it's clear that he's not playing with the same deck that he was playing with 25 years ago. But who is? He's 80 years old, basically. Randolph Familia says, do you think Austin Wells can replace Gary? Austin Wells is beginning in A ball, so it'll be a while. I think we're just gonna have to deal with Higgy this year, and I like Higgy. Kyle Kennedy says, when is Luis Severino coming back? Look for him in July. Wampak Jewel says, you want Dominguez with the team now? You'll be highly disappointed. Yeah, he needs some time to develop. His skills are up there with the major leaguers right now in terms of like exit velocity and arm strength and speed, but he's got to get used to hitting professional pitchers. Victor Mariotti says, I am watching the Yankees now. I've been watching the Yankees over 20 years with a baseball package. I love MLB Extra Innings. I've been an MLB Extra Innings subscriber since I think 1998, maybe 1997. Before that, I lived in New York. There was one summer in 97 where I didn't have access to all the games because we moved. And so we were in an apartment and we didn't have DirecTV. And so from July of that year through the end of the year, I didn't get to see many Yankee games. I only got to see the ones that were on the MLB network. Or no, it was the ESPN. It was before the MLB network. I remember that summer I was super excited to see Hideki Irabu's debut, and I missed it. Fouled away. Jordan Montgomery at just 55 pitches here in the fourth inning. PXNA says Michael K is so bad. Yeah, Michael K used to be really good. I also think that he's fallen off a little bit. My favorite announcer of all time is Jim Cott. He's a color man. I really like Ken Singleton, but he's retiring. I think Paul O'Neill's a great color guy. As far as play-by-play, it doesn't get much better than Matt Vasgersian. Lori C says, I don't want him on the major league team. I want him in a minor league team, not some make-believe extended spring training. Yeah, I'd like to see him play against real competition too. I feel like the Yankees kind of baby their prospects a lot, right? I mean, a lot of these guys probably could be in the major leagues, but the Yankees hold them back. Just a reminder that this stream will end after the fifth inning, and then I'll be back with the post-game show, highlights, and then a reaction with Patrick Hennessy of Unhinged Yankees. So those of you who like when we collab, Patrick's a great guy. He's a good kid. Works hard. That's all you can ask of somebody. Somebody says, is this going to be Monty's bad inning? I hope not. We could use a double play ball right here. 0-2 pitch, fastball up and away at 92. Sacks or plays, says Joe Buck. Yeah, I don't hate Joe Buck the way a lot of people do. I think Joe Buck's a pretty good announcer. Tim Burns says, do you think the Yankees need another starter? I think the Yankees are good on pitching right now, which is hard to say because you can never have enough pitching. But I think the Yankees pitching has been fantastic. Swing and a miss. Brosel goes down. 2 outs for Montgomery. That's 8 strikeouts on the day. That was a straight change. So there's a few different ways to throw a changeup. This is a circle change where you kind of throw it like with you make like an OK kind of. This is called a box change where you put your two middle fingers, your middle and your ring finger across the short seams. This is a no-hitter ball from June 7th, 2008. This is a summer league game. Swing and a miss to Padillo. A lot of Yankees throwing a lot more changeups. Pop S Gaming says, who's better, Cole or Glass now? I'm not even going to put that one on the screen. Garrett Cole is second to only Jacob deGrom, in my opinion. But Garrett Cole has not had the injury troubles that Jacob deGrom has had. If you want to learn how to throw a curveball, so if you look at the ball, how it's got these two seams that run together close like that. I like to get a finger on that seam, get a knuckle inside the seam, and then it's like pulling a window shade. You can also practice snapping your fingers. And if you can get the ball to go straight up and down, that's the right curveball spin. Straight up and down. Snap your fingers. It's better if you can hear a snap. There you go. That creates a nice tight spin. See if you can hear the snap. Swainer says, thoughts on Ryan Ruocco? I love Ryan Ruocco. He's the next voice of the Yankees. I hope one day I can get a shot at the broadcast booth. I know that's kind of like wishful thinking, but to me, that's like the end goal of all this, is to one day end up going to work at Yankee Stadium every day. That would be amazing. Dorsey says, who's pitching for the Rays tomorrow? I know it's not Tyler Glass now, so I don't know much more than that. Randolph says he can't throw a knuckleball for the life of him. I also can't throw a knuckleball. I've never been good at that. My dad can throw a good knuckleball, but you have to have fingernails to throw a knuckleball, and you can't see it on the stream, but I bite my fingernails all day long. All day long. Tim Burns says, how long do you think they'll give Clint till they send him down? I think he'll probably get another at least month. If he's hitting 140 on June 1st, you have to send him down. It also depends on who they could bring up that they think would do a better job. Monty with a 2-2 count, looking for his 9th strikeout of the night. 62 pitches for Jordan Montgomery. Rip to third. Grabbed by Urshela, fires across. And the Rays go down without scoring. Sprinting Water says, Ryan Ruocco is great, man. I love his calls.
I wholeheartedly agree.
BB says, come on, stay through the 7th. I appreciate that, but I've got to get it. Like, it takes a while to plan, to put together the post game. I have to download the highlights. I have to edit the highlights. I have to set up the guest version of the post game template, this post game template. And so it really requires a few innings to do that. So not going to be possible. Sorry. Hey, another downvote. Hey, if you, instead of downvoting, how about telling me what you don't like? I hate fucking downvotes without people telling me what's your issue. Rays fans. Whenever the ball is hit to third, I just know it's an out. It is when Gio Urshela is over there. Gio Urshela is a vacuum over there at third base. Showing the MLB flashback of the Dodgers. Dodgers are struggling this year. Swainer says, why is Stanton so much lighter than Judge, but is more muscle and only an inch shorter? I don't know, man. That's just I don't know. They're different human beings. Human beings are different. I know people that, I'm 5'11". I know a bunch of people that are 5'11" and skinnier, fatter, stronger, whatever. Humans have different body types. It is what it is. Kyle Kennedy says, trade for Trevor Story. Why? He's a lot of money. You'd have to give up a bunch to get him. And the Yankees have a shortstop. Gleyber Torres is playing better now. Gleyber Torres has really good defensive metrics this year so far. Orsia says the downvote guy didn't get a pony when he was 6. I've had a few times where people go on like downvote brigades, where like I post something and then I'll see like 10 downvotes, but they go away because YouTube notices like if somebody just comes and clicks the downvote or whatever, but they don't stay and watch a certain percentage, then it is like it's identified as being fake. I know there's a couple of other Yankee content creators out there that are kind of pissed at me because of how quickly this has grown, like to double, triple their size. I'm not going to name any names, but I just feel like, hey, look, if you can't grow your channel, it's on you. I just try and create good content and interact with my audience. That's all it takes. That's really all it takes. If you're thinking about getting into YouTubing, just create good content. Build it and they will come. Josh Fleming comes in to pitch. He's 2-3 with a 2.81 ERA. Luis Omar says, do you agree that if the Yankees send down Gary for Chirinos and Wade for Dietrich by June 1st? I disagree. I don't think that'll happen.
Nope.
I do think that Gary is on a short leash. If he's still hitting 1-something as Frazier dribbles one back to the mound, big surprise. Somebody pull up Clint Frazier's batting average so I can play the Nelson sound. He's just awful. And here comes another sub 200 batting average in Brett Gardner, 197, no home runs, 3 RBIs. I think Brett Gardner should have called it a career. I know people love him. I love him. As a human being, he's fantastic. Would be a great coach. Not a professional baseball player anymore. Robinson Rivera says, go Yankees from Waterbury, Connecticut. So Waterbury, Connecticut is actually someplace that my wife and I have looked at houses. We've discussed if this becomes big enough, relocating to New York. I kind of have a couple of ideas on ways to do this from Yankee Stadium that I don't think have been done before. That would be kind of innovative. But the best way to do that would be is if I lived in New York and I could do it all the time or near New York. So Randolph says he's batting 143. That's got to be an average of going 1 for 7. That's horrendous. That's horrendous. Hey, you guys want to see me without a hat on? I never go on without a hat. Horrendous, 143. Jesse Dominguez is subscribed. Derek's the man. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. Here's DJ LeMahieu. He takes one low. Oh, they called it a strike. What the hell is that? Come on. Kyle Kennedy says, do you think Giancarlo Stanton should play in right field? The Yankees are going to face this question. They're going to face this question because at some point they're going to play in a National League ballpark without the DH. And if Giancarlo Stanton is on one of those tears, like imagine if they had played the Washington Nationals in Washington this weekend instead of in New York. Giancarlo going into the weekend was on fire. He had a 12-game hitting streak. He had 6 home runs in 12 games. And so, like, do you pull him out of the lineup just because he can't play the field? That's something the Yankees are going to have to face. Top of the 5th, 2 outs. Yankees lead this one 2-1. 3-1 count on LeMahieu, fouled away. It's amazing how much offense is down in baseball this year. Like, whoops, hit the mic with my ball. Speaking of balls, go to manscaped.com. Use the code NYYRecaps for 20% off and free shipping. DJ fouls it away. Sean Taft says, do you do this all the time? Not all the time, but I typically do a few watch parties per month. I do a stream after every single Yankees game where I recap the game and show the highlights. Much like you're seeing it in the upper right-hand corner, these are all my highlight reels from the year. So I'll get on and I'll talk about my impressions from the game, and I'll go by inning, you know, how the game went. You're seeing some stars on my face. I got my ceiling thing so that you guys could get a look at the ceiling. But yeah, I mostly stream after Yankee games. I like to pay attention during the Yankee game, and that is a 75-inch TV. Maybe it's 70-inch TV behind me. The room is bigger than it looks on camera as DJ flies it to right field. Should be an easy can of corn. I like to watch it on that TV, and so it's tough for me to do watch parties all the time because I have to watch it on my phone, which is this little tiny iPhone. But I do try and stream for a watch party at least a few times a month. Mike Prince says, I miss the Yankees on MSG. I remember MSG Network. Do you remember Dwayne Statz? He's the Tampa Bay Rays announcer now. And there's Al Troutwig. Luis Omar says, would you like to work with John Boy Media or Joe's McFly? You'd be a great Yankee crew together. Look, if they approached me, it would be about like how to make it work. I mean, I love John Boy Media. I think they're great. My oeuvre, like I said, is somewhat different than them. If they had a need, I think they have plenty of Yankees guys, honestly. But if they wanted to throw some of that sweet sponsorship dollars in my direction, I would take it for sure. I think John Boy would be great to work with, and I don't need to be, Michael Jordan. I can be Scottie Pippen. I can be Dennis Rodman. I have no attachment to being famous or being on a billboard or any of that stuff. I know that they get a lot of attention, and I'm happy to let them have it. I just want to be involved with the Yankees. I just want to be involved with baseball. That's my goal. And, we talked a lot about like the universe and consciousness and all that stuff. Another guy I listen to a lot, and I know a lot of people don't like him, and typically I wouldn't like him, but Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is a guy who he talks a lot about having a goal in life and being single-mindedly focused on a goal. Since I began this channel and I noticed that people were responding to it, I've been single-mindedly focused on growing it, on developing this community, and on getting better every day. I don't take any days off. Every day I put in some kind of work towards making this channel better. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if I've got shit going on. I invest some time in this channel to make it better. And I spent a lot of time during the winter, during the off season, working on this channel. And it pays off because then when I needed to have a cool layout or something, I've got it. First pitch from Monty is hit high and deep towards left center field, but Gardner tracks it down on the warning track. Zunino again. Stop pitching to him or back him off the plate. The home run from Zunino in the first inning was, or I guess it was in the first inning, but earlier in the game was 472 feet. KG Baseball says, would you work with Unhinged? I love Unhinged, but there's no reason for me to work with Unhinged because, one, I'm way bigger than Unhinged, right? I'm almost 10 times the size of Unhinged. But we're partners. We work together. Mike Sorrentino says, I like WPIX with the Scooter and Bill White. I never got to see Bill White, I don't remember, but I do remember the Scooter. The Scooter was great. Al Troutwig is an awesome announcer. I agree with you. He was fantastic. He does more than just baseball, too. Kyle Kennedy says, what do you think about Clark Schmidt? It worries me that he has elbow issues, as this one is swung and a miss by Adames. It worries me that he has elbow issues because I've talked about this a lot in the past. His motion as he drives towards home plate. And it might be better to start off talking about some of the other guys. Watch Corey Kluber, watch Garrett Cole, watch Jameson Taillon. When they finish their delivery, they're moving their body towards home plate. When Clark Schmidt releases the ball and finishes moving, he's falling off towards first base. That tells me that he's opening up his front side too early. So he's coming towards home plate and he opens it up his arm laterally like that, as opposed to tucking it like that. And that can put strain on your elbow, which is, we've seen him have some issues. Turn off these freaking laser beams. Ugh. Another Jordan Peterson fan. I love Jordan Peterson. I just think he's a great mind. Swung on and missed. 9 strikeouts for Jordan Montgomery. Jim Cott, another great announcer. That's a career high in strikeouts for Jordan Montgomery. And as the president of Gumby Nation, I think that he is going to have an outstanding day and break his record by getting one more strikeout with 10. Let's hear it for Jordan Montgomery. Lori C says Bobby Mercer was good. Yeah, I liked Bobby Mercer, but he didn't strike me as like... What's the word? He was a homer. And I get that some teams or some fans like when their announcers are totally on their team side. I like it when the announcers are a little bit more objective. But Mercer was somebody who was obviously rooting for the Yankees, and that's great. That's fine. But I like how Michael Kay keeps it kind of more agnostic. I don't know why. I've always preferred my announcers to be a bit more separated from the game. I remember I used to cover the Durham Bulls, AAA team of the Rays, and this ball is a curveball in the dirt taken for a ball. And I remember in the press box, all the writers were very cautious not to root for either team. Bella Barada says, hi.
Hello.
1-2. Bouncer towards second base. Glaber picks it up, fires to first, and that'll do it in the fifth, and that'll do it for this stream. I thank everybody who joined me. Catch me for the post game. I'll be back, probably maybe 10:15. We'll see. I will see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel.